Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another edition of Find Ways to Win. It's my first time doing broadcasts this close together, but had little things in me I just wanted to get out, and just want to talk to you guys, interact with you on subject matters kind of close to my heart, and close to a lot of people's hearts. Some of us recognize it to be so, others don't, but nevertheless, we're all affected with it. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter number 3, verse number 1. It reads as follows. Through everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pick up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. The subject of this broadcast right here, the title of this broadcast here, is to everything there is a season and a time. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an adage that is old as millennium, and it simply says, timing is everything. You can do the right thing, but at the wrong time, it means nothing. Or you can do things, or you can reverse that, and it'll still mean nothing. Time is essential to life. Time is life, least on this realm we call earth. Time, timing, being able to discern when to do, when not to do. What is the proper moment that you should go through this door or execute this plan. It literally is everything. You can't accomplish anything great without an understanding of timing when matters. You just can't. You can delay by a day, an hour, a second, and it could change your destiny. Or you can move within that time, that certain time period, and your destiny can alter be forever altered. We live in an economy and in a society, should I say, that's rush, 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 rush. Get it now. Don't just sit still. Do something. Do something. Yeah, you can do something, but if you do it at the wrong time, you might as well not have done nothing. Actually, if you do something and you do it and if you don't do it at the proper time, you can actually cause more harm than good. You have to be discerning. You have to be discerning. You have to have understanding and wisdom and knowing when to move, knowing when certain doors are open for you and when to go through them, and knowing when certain doors have closed for you because you simply delayed. As a historian, a lover of history, especially civilizations, and with long with coming to civilizations, you look back at how they were established, and often they would go to war, and often wars were fought to build civilizations, and some of the atrocities or the triumphs that came with it. America had a time period, I believe it's back between 1860 to 1864. That was known as the Civil Rights War, the war between the states. With the southern colonies against the northern colonies. And a big proponent of that, what really kicked it off was the expansion of slavery. The South was pretty much well holding on to that. The North simply, didn't agree with that position, so they went to war. Well, upon reading and upon studying, there seems to be contemporaries who were generals. I mean, a lot of the generals from Robert E. Lee to Nature Bedford Forrest Longstreet, to Joshua Chamberlain, the Ulysses S. Grant. These guys all knew each other. Many of them went to the academy together, and so they were friends. And so, but they were, they had their different views, and they picked their sides, and they started fighting. Well, the war lasted longer than what was anticipated back in that time, and there was a tremendous loss of life on both sides. Well, the starring general for the South was a gentleman by the name of Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee was from the state of Virginia. The history paints him in a good light, but and depend on who you was talking to, but he was a slave owner and giant landowner up in Virginia and stuff. So nevertheless, he was engaged in battle with a general from the North called George McCulloch. Well, McCulloch was getting ready to go into battle when he's a little bit outside of Washington, I believe. And for the other historians out there, you can please correct my facts. And the Potomac River has swollen for some reason. It wasn't anticipated to do that, but it's swollen, and Lee was trapped in between a swollen Potomac River, which he couldn't retreat, and he was facing McClellan's army that was sizably outnumbered him. So Lincoln had ordered McClellan to attack, but McClellan, through whatever reason, we don't know what was going on with the man, but he disobeyed a direct order. He refused to attack. And Lincoln was pleading with him, and had he would have attacked Lee at that time, the war could have been over. The war could have been over in 2 years back in 1862. Easily could have been over because Lincoln had nowhere to go, and he could have McClellan could have destroyed the army in Northern Virginia, which is what they were known as, but he didn't. He waited. He procrastinated. He took time. He kept asking for more troops, even though he had enough troops to completely do the job. Well, lo and behold, he gave Lee time. Pretty soon, the flood waters receded, and Lee was able to take his army back over the lines and regroup. 2 more years and thousands of lives lost because one man didn't know how to seize, or was afraid. I like to think he was afraid to seize opportunity that could have ended something. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. You have got to understand that. You have to learn how to discern the times and the seasons. You have to learn when to move, when not to move. When to push forward, when to back off, when to stop, when to listen, when to attack, when to fight, when to start that business, when not to start it, when to get in a relationship, or who to get a relationship with, or who not to get in with. Timing is everything. Your life can be greatly enhanced if you are seasoned and moving at the right time on the right thing. If you don't have that gift, you're going to be forever frustrated. You're going to be forever. Set back. You're going to be forever an underachiever because you simply don't respect timing. You don't know how to move. You don't know how to seize doors of opportunity. You seem to think that the ideas and once in a lifetime things are just going to keep coming around, keep coming around, and keep coming around, and keep coming around for them. You seem to think that you're always going to have this stream of good fortune. You're always going to be on the top, and you don't know how to seize opportunity. I forget the name of the gentleman, and maybe someone can look at that or look that up real quick and find out who he was. But there was this guy that owned 10% of Apple. 10% of Apple. Now, Apple wasn't what it is right now. No, it didn't have the market capitalization or the value what it is right now. But he sold 10% of Apple for less than $1,000. I don't know what he wanted the money for. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to take his wife out or his girl out for a nice steak dinner. Maybe it was the anniversary stuff. But he sold. 10%, that his 10% stake in Apple for about $1,000. You think he's pleased with that decision? We definitely know he did it at the wrong time. That 10% stake for those mathematicians out there, with Apple being like with Apple being like about $1 trillion company, he threw away about $100+ billion for gratification right now, instant gratification. Also heard another story about a guy who sold 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pepperoni pizzas. I mean, timing, not understanding what you have or what you have in your hand or who you have in your life. Just because you don't see something in fruition right now doesn't mean it's not going to come in invaluable later. And I do mean invaluable. You got to know when to move. You got to have patience in this life. You got to have a sense of prayer and a sense of seeking the Creator, the Most High. You got to have something, because we don't know everything. We don't know what the next moment's going to bring. We don't know what the next day or the next week. We can't even tell you how much time we have left on this earth. But time measures everything about our lives. Everything. We know that we're given a finite amount of time on this earth. We know that. And the Most High, in his graciousness, he doesn't let us know when our time is up. You know? So therefore, it behooves us to live our days and live our times, for maximum benefits. All you have is today. All you have is now. Timing is everything. Now we can learn what to do with our time through our experiences, or more so through the experiences of other people who have went before us, who are longer on a journey than us, and we can learn from their experience. We can learn by developing our will and our strength of character, and we can learn by observation. We can learn by reading. And reading the lives of other great men and women, and learning from both their successes and their failures. But we have to be constant of the time. There is a point where you're not going to have any more time. There's a point where that door is not always going to be open. There comes a day when you just can't say, oh, I'll just go ahead and get it now. Often you wait to go get it now, that time moment is gone. And that door can close very rapidly. It can close very, very rapidly. Tomorrow, is not today. The portal for time for you to be successful was open now. But you decided just to wait. Because you had something else to do. Maybe you want to go see a movie, so you didn't make that phone call. Maybe you had this gut feeling that you ought to stop in this place, or call this person, or and they would have gave you the right thing, or put you on an opportunity that you could have never created. And in a lifetime, they would just turn you on to something. Maybe they would have said something that would spark something, but you didn't go. You were sleepy. You were tired. You had worked a lot of hours, so you felt like you needed a break off, and you wasn't discerning towards a period in time that could have revolutionary not only your life but generations to come. Now you have to train your spirit. You have to train your spirit to be sensitive to rhythms and time. Be sensitive to when the portals are open. And it's something that you should move through, or rather run through. You can't always thinking you have tomorrow. I'll put it off. Maybe one day next week. I'll get back around to it. But right now I got something important. You can't do that. You gotta be sensitive to the time continuum. You have to be sensitive. When is it time for me to move? When is it time for me to stay? When is it time for me to invest in this project? When is it time for me to align myself with this person or this opportunity? Now, Maybe it's not for now. Maybe it's like for 5 years from now that you're going to really see the fruit of that decision. But you have to be constant of it, and you have to really really develop it. And you have to practice things that quiet your spirit. Practice things that opens up your heart and your spirit, man, to receive, in order to know how to move, in order to know how to take advantage of moments in time. But you dare not just take time frivolously. You dare not just take time and thinking that you got all the time in the world. You dare not just go ahead and treat time like you'll always have it. You know, we are getting older every day. We are getting closer to our end every day. Now those can may sound like morbid words, but they're not. They're true. Now, so you have to take advantage of your time. If anything you ought to take advantage of, it's your time. And you have to know what wastes your time and what doesn't. You have to be willing to invest in things that do not waste your time, people who do not waste your time. And you have to be seasoned and understand when to go to certain portals that you can excel, that you can achieve. You have to train yourself for that. And that can be done in a number of ways: prayer, fasting, meditation, council of elders, wisdom, council of mentors. But make sure they have a proven record of taking advantage of time and that leads them into a successful manner. Now, I've heard of people who started mail rooms and it became CEOs. I heard of people who started part-time places and now they're high-level executives. And I heard of people who didn't give up on themselves or their invention, and they just kept going to people to give them funding, banks or and other institutions and stuff. And all of a sudden they put it in front of one guy who didn't seem to be like he belonged. It didn't seem like he was interested. They probably met him, as far as like at a cafe, and they went and they struck up a conversation. He said something at the right time to show that man how to go secure that capital need. And now the rest is he has a very, very thriving, successful business. God sends people to impart into us when we're really hungry for it. And he often will stop us from going forward in something we think if the time is wrong, if we're sensitive to him. Now, if you want to rush like a bull in a china shop, he'll let you go there too. Now, train yourself, ladies and gentlemen. For everything there is a time and a season. Everything there is a time and a season. Stop wasting time. Stop treating time like it's some old good buddy, like it's a long lost friend that's always going to be with you. Time is always going to be, but you won't be. No, those opportunities, they're not always going to avail yourself to you rather. You have to be able to take advantage of them right then while they're there. The time is now. The time is now. The time is now. When you get the green lights, and you get those green lights in your spirit, and you get those green lights, and things start to line for you, and now it said jump, you jump. Said you get that impression on your spirit. Call this person, you call. Get in your car and drive to this place. You go. Well, what if I don't get it right, Fitzgerald? What if you do? What if you do? What if you have that next idea that's the new Delta Airlines? What if you have that next idea that's the new Walgreens, or that's the new Ford Motor Company, or that's the new Oracle? I mean, the greatest fortunes, ladies and gentlemen, have not been made yet. The greatest fortunes have not been made yet. There are ideas out there that yet to be brought to the world that will revolutionize the world. Maybe come with a better energy distribution center, a better way a better drill bit to drill through, to lay to get the lay pipelines down more efficiently. Maybe someone would come up with a different way for mapping the ocean. and putting that vast body of energy to work on our behalf. You never know. You never know. Maybe some divine inspiration by someone is just, you know, walking and observing nature and stuff. Maybe they're over in India, maybe they're in the Congo, and but, maybe here in the United States, and all of a sudden a flash of inspiration, and they dare to jump at that moment, and their timing has changed the world, definitely changed their lives. Be conscious of time, ladies and gentlemen. Be conscious. Stop wasting time. And for those of you who are in such a rush, you just keep trying a whole lot of things, that's synonymous with wasting time too. You got to know what you want. And you got to avail yourself. You got to open up your spirit, man, where you can receive. You have to do that because your spirit already knows the solution. You just gotta open up your soul, which is the valve between the spirit and the body, and allow that information to come to you. How do we think Nikola Tesla got all these ideas? How we think in Moped got all these ideas? The first father of medicine, who I believe was the ancient Joseph. I believe there's one and the same. Well, that's my belief. How do we explain this? How did it come to Da Vinci? No, how do all these great inventions come to it? How did great music come to Bach and Mozart? No, how did it come? What made it? Could it be they had tapped into this portal? They understood the times and the seasons, and they had the courage to go through when the rhythm was open for them. They had the courage to go through. Could it be? We can't explain it, but we know it exists. And we know there are a few individuals in this world who seem to be gifted with discerning the times and have the courage of going through those portals when they are open. No, they're no different from me and you, except they believe. And they went and they did. And we see the fruit of that. So we appreciate you guys listening. We try to make content over here that's going to better your lives, definitely designed to get you to think, but more importantly, designed to get you to do. I've asked you to please hit that like and subscribe, share button. Thank you for the audience is growing. My goal is to reach 10,000 subscribers by September 8th. Definitely appreciate you guys, for your support and logging on and tuning in on, and we just thank you so much. And you guys have a great evening, but just something to think about, on your ways when you're trying to figure out your life, and you're trying to figure out, the divine appointments, just something to think about. Learn to discern the times and the season so you can be blessed as well as those connected with you. Enjoy your day.